What will happen with the price of flare after we will have our last flare drop on January 30? As you guys know, we have two flare drops left. The first one is on December 31st, and the second one is on January 30. What will happen with the price? Is this something that you should worry about? I'm going to explain this to you guys in this video. What is going on, everybody? It's King Karan with another flare content for you guys. And as you guys can see, I'm traveling on Christmas. But first of all, guys, a Merry Christmas. I hope that you guys have enjoyed your Christmas time with your family, to also reflect on yourself, to have that quality time with your family before you're going to lock in on Flare, going back to work. And for me, I'm still working, but I'm still with my family. But that's just how I am, right? I just don't like to take a lot of time off, but I hope that you guys have enjoyed it because the time from right now up until January 1st, you also have the time to reflect on yourself, to also write down your goals. That's very important because I know you guys are watching my content because of Flare and because of XRP. But what I really want from you guys is to write down your goals on a piece of paper. 2026, what are my goals? What do I want to achieve? And write it all down, hang it up somewhere so you can see this every single day. Because if you have it in your head, what is going to happen? You will forget about it. And before you know, it's going to be Christmas 2026. And then you're going to be like, oh shit, yeah, I could have done this, I could have done that. But no, write it down, put it on the wall, wake up and look at it every single day, and that will keep getting it into your head. All the things what you want to achieve for 2026, write it down. This is the perfect time for you to reflect on yourself. So I highly recommend that you guys will also do this. But let's get back to the topic. We're going to talk about the flare drops. One of the most popular methods to receive free money and the best method. And I will explain this to you guys actually what this was all about. So I'll take you back to 2020 when every XRP holder knew that they would receive free flare. One XRP equals one flare that you would get. So if you have 50,000 XRP, you would receive 50,000 flare. But Hugo was actually thinking about all of this. Like, all right, all of these people are going to get free flare, but do they really care about the ecosystem? Are they really going to participate? Because once, if Hugo really did this, like let's say you hold 10,000 XRP and you get 10,000 flare, you would have a lot of people dumping that token, right? It would have just been a mess. So Hugo said, all right, guys, listen, you get 15%. So let's say you hold 100,000 XRP, you will only get 15,000 flare. But here's the thing, that other 85% that you actually would have received will be going into a big pot. So everybody's 85% is in a pot. And this pot will be going to distribute to people who do care about the ecosystem. Those are the people who delegate. That is why we receive 15 to 17% every single month, like for 2, 3 months straight. That was crazy. But that was because we had a lot of people's 85% in that pot. And that would only be rewarded to people who delegate. And there was a majority out there who don't even delegate, right? So they really missed this chance. But this proposal was amazing because this was actually giving people the opportunity to participate on Flare Network to also make sure that the network got increased by activity. So because of Hugo's new proposal, that actually made sure that the people who really cared about Flare Network, they would get way more flare than they would actually got in the first place. That is why in the first couple of months we would receive 15 to 17% every month. But the more time went by, the more people were delegating, the lower the percentages went, which makes sense, right? So right now we have around 1.5% to 2% that we get every single month, around that, right? And it can always fluctuate. But since we have the last two drops, we will still receive around that number, which I do predict. So what will happen with the price of Flare after January 30, after the last Flare drop? And I have some people saying a lot of different things, right? You have people saying, yeah, we will have a 60 to 70% crash because you have people who just want to sell. And then you have other people who are saying, no, we're going up because it will stop inflation because that's the last drop and there will be no more inflation coming from the drops anymore, which is true. And I do agree on this. But in the long term, yes, we will have crazy growth because obviously the inflation is stopping if it comes to the flare drop side. But what is happening over here, what he's saying, 60 to 70% drop, I don't think so, man. That will definitely not happen because the majority of the people are still participating, but are doing also more things and they're finding out that they can make more money on flare. And since the price is low, would you sell all your bags knowing that there is more upside potential rather than a downside potential, right? So we still have people selling. I mean, that will obviously happen. So yeah, I might expect a 5 to 10% drop, maybe a 15%, maybe a small percentage just like that. But those are the people who don't care about Flare at all. So let them leave. Let them all leave. So it will recover and then eventually it will go up and it will go up like crazy. Because one, inflation is done on the Flare drop side. You will have people who care about Flare network that are remaining on Flare network, and the price is sitting at the bottom. Like it's crazy. You would be crazy to sell your Flare while it's still at 1 cent. But then the question remains, what will happen on January 30? Will the price still be the same? Or will Flare go to 4 or 5 cents or somewhere like that as a guess? Would you still wait to buy more, right? Because then it's too late. So you never know what can happen, right? So all what I can do is just guess how many people do really care about Flare and how many people don't care about Flare. So based off from that, and also based off from the things that you can do more on the Flare network, right? Stake, delegate, you can add liquidity and a lot more ways to make money on Flare. Based off from that, I can guess that the drop won't even be that much because the price is low and you can do a lot more things on Flare. Let's say the price was a little bit higher and you didn't had a lot of opportunities to make more money on Flare besides only the Flare drop. Yes, you would have the majority selling. But just because of the future of Flare, the things what they're building, and a lot more opportunities to make more money on Flare, while the price is still at the bottom, gives me that thought that that drop will not be that big because the people know, especially the majority, that the best is yet to come. I hope that you guys enjoyed this content. Make sure to like, subscribe, and don't forget to put something down below. Let me know what you think about this video, especially if it comes to what is going to happen after the last flare drop. And I'll see you guys next time.